Hi guys, it's Cindy Leach, your polymer clay tutor, and today's PCT product demo, I'm going to show you the brand new colors for Sculpey in the Souffle clay line for 2016. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is show you the colors, then I'll talk a little bit about the qualities of Souffle clay, and the color shift when it bakes, how it fits into the color line of the other colors that they already have, and what colors I think needs to be added to the line in the future. So here are the new colors here. They are they have 4 new ones, all kind of earthen toned colors like the rest of the Souffle line. The first color is called Mocha. It is a kind of a creamy coffee kind of color, which is well suited for the name, in a kind of a tan neutral browny kind of color. The next color here is called Guava. It is a soft color that is sort of a cross between pink and coral. The next one is called Cinnamon, and it's a dark rusty orange color. And the last new color is called Sage, and it is a dusty gray green. These names are perfect this time. There's a couple of names in the previous set of colors that I didn't think were perfect, but I think all of these names are perfect for their colors. Now, if you're not familiar with Souffle clay, it is a beautiful clay to work with. It is a high quality clay that is good for all-purpose things. It's within the same kind of realm as using Premo clay from Sculpey, which is my favorite clay. I use Souffle a lot, and the nice thing about it is that it has a beautiful matte finish to it. When you bake it up, there is a matte finish, like I said, that has kind of a micro suede kind of feel to it. It has, you can see the texture from certain angles, and it feels smooth to the touch. Not a nap like thick velvet or anything, but just like a nice little micro suede. It is the same. It has very similar properties to Premo. In fact, I kind of feel like it's the same clay as Premo, that they've added some sort of lightweight additive to it to make it matte. It's actually a little bit lighter than Premo. It's got, the Souffle block here is exactly the same size block as a Premo clay, but the Premo weighs 2 ounces and the Souffle clay weighs 1.7 ounces. So it's just slightly lighter. Might make a difference if you were making really large pieces, but in general, it's not a huge difference. It bakes at the same temperature as Premo, so it bakes at 275 Fahrenheit or 130 Celsius, and has it smells the same. It feels pretty much the same, other than the texture of it. And when you can sand it, do all the same sort of techniques. The only technique that you can't do with Souffle that you can do with Premo is mica shift, because the Souffle line doesn't have any metallics or pearl colors in it. But you can make beads, do mocha megane, you can make canes with it, you can do sculpting with it. So pretty much anything that you would like to make with a nice matte finish. You can sand it and drill it and do all the typical things you can do with polymer clay, but you can't, there's no point in sanding and buffing it trying to get it to a high shine, because at best it's just going to come up to like a satin finish. But that can also be used as an advantage, because you can have the, which means that you don't have to sand everything. So if you're sculpting something like a little birdhouse bead or something like that you don't want to sand and buff, then the finish is beautiful without having to do anything to it. So that's one of its nice qualities. Also, because it is compatible with the Premo clay, you could put, and it bakes at the same temperature, you can put Souffle clay and Premo clay into the same project. So you can have those 2 clays in the same project, even in something like a cane, and you can play off the fact that one is matte finish and one isn't. So you can get some interesting effects. So that's kind of about the quality of the clay. Now, as far as when it's baked, a couple of the colors do have a little bit of a color shift, and I'll show you that. Now, I've got, on these little white sample cards here, I have baked polymer clay, And then in front of them I have the same color, only raw. And I'll show you the difference between the two. Now with the Mocha, there's not a huge difference, but there is, when it does bake, it's a slightly darker. But the color itself stays pretty much the same, it's just slightly darker. With the Guava, this color here is, when it's raw, it's slightly pinker, and when it's baked, it's slightly darker and slightly more coral. So it kind of shifts over to the coral side rather than the pink side once it's baked. That's probably the biggest shift I've seen with these new colors here. Well, it is the biggest shift. The other ones are pretty minor. With cinnamon, I see very little to almost no shift at all. It might get slightly darker, but it's really not very obvious at all. And with the sage, it gets slightly darker, but there again, it's quite minimal when it's baked. Now, I've got all the colors here lined out. Now, what I've done is, okay, I have these binders, and I've got another video on it in the videos that we have on how to make like a sampler binder with all the different clays. So I've done this with the souffle clay already, and I've bumped out the spaces for where the new colors will go in. So I will add them into these pockets so you can see where I think they fit in the line. I've got Igloo, Poppy Seed, Concrete, Sandcastle, Latte, and then the new Mocha will go right in here, in this spot. Then I've got, oops, it was easier to put in when I practiced. There we go. Then I've got Cowboy, Turnip, Bordeaux, Cherry Pie, So 80s, then the Guava. Put this down here. Now this color is quite similar. Well, I'll talk about that in a minute. All right, then we've got Mai Tai, Pumpkin, and the Cinnamon. Right in here. Key Lime, Canary, Pistachio, and Sage. Slip that one in there. And then the rest of the line, we've got Pesto, Jade, Sea Glass, Robin's Egg, Lagoon, Bluestone, and Royalty. Now, as far as the new colors go, they fit beautifully in the line. You can see that it's they fit in there quite nicely. I think, now this is just strictly my opinion, I think that this particular color rainbow is missing a few steps, and I would have added different colors first before some of these ones. And let me just explain. Okay, so here's the Mocha in the line here. Here's all the neutrals. Latte and Sandcastle, we've already got a couple of tan colors. The nice thing about this Mocha color is that it's a little bit more blue based than the Latte, which is a little bit more yellow based. So it is a really good addition to the line. But as far as adding more neutrals, I think we're good for now. There's other places I would add new colors, but so that is, we've got a pretty good representation of the neutrals now that the Mocha's in there. Now, as far as the reds go, there's plenty of them. There's Turnip, Bordeaux, Cherry Pie, So 80s. We've got some pinks. There's an awful lot of pinks in this line. And even though I love this color, Guava, in fact, this is almost identical color to my planner, it's already, here, I'll just take the next color from here, just a sec here. Mai Tai, which would be next in the row, it's really basically a half shade between So 80s and the Mai Tai color. So rather than have like a half shade difference, I would have added new colors in the line instead. But it's definitely a pretty color, and I mean, it's not going to be an issue or anything, as long as they add some of these other colors that I suggested in a minute in the future. So the Mai Tai here has, I've kind of got it on the orange row here. The new cinnamon is a darker shade, basically, of the pumpkin. It's almost identical color, only just a lot darker. The nice thing about this new color, though, is that it does bring contrast in to the orange line. At least it's darker, and it has a little bit more contrast. When you're making a lot of polymer clay canes and things, it's nice to have colors that have more contrast in them, because if you have all the colors at the same value, then things can get a little lost in the design. Now, that's another case here with the sage. I love this sage. It's a beautiful dusty blue-based kind of sage. And the pesto next to it is quite yellow-based. These three greens are very similar in value. I would like to see added to this line a nice dark green. One that you could have more contrast. They have a nice bright pistachio here, nice bright green, but there is no dark green. There's a lot of middle values here. A dark green like an forest green or an evergreen kind of color would be really nicely added to this line. Another thing is that the blues, these blues are all kind of, these ones especially, are all quite turquoisey based and kind of teal looking. And then this blue here, bluestone, is quite gray looking. I would really like to see some blues added into this line that are a little bit more true blue, an ultramarine type blue, maybe a dark blue that could be lightened a bit with white to bring in some more colors. But something with a little more contrast. We really have a lot of greeny blues here, and they're all kind of similar in value. And then there really is only one purple. I would love to see a lot more purples in this line, because there are so many beautiful purples. I mean, I guess you could call this one here, this turnip here, a purple. It's kind of in the purple range, but it's a lot more red. I'd like to see some lavenders. There's so many pale fuchsias and violets and all kinds of lovely colors. So something light in the purple range would be lovely, and more blues. Also, this rainbow is really missing yellows. All it has is this greeny, muddy green color called, or I'm putting it in with the yellows because it's more yellow than these greens, but it's called key lime. And then there really is only the one yellow canary. I'd like to see a paler, softer yellow in there to really round out this palette. Now, the last color that I would like to see more is a red added that's more like a brighter, more berry, not berry red, but more like a cadmium kind of red. One that that you would see out in the woods, like on a holly bush or something like that. So other than that, I would, so those are the colors. I got stuck there. It was all kind of lost in my color mixing thoughts. They are really beautiful colors. I do really love the Souffle clay line. It's a beautiful addition to have alongside with the Premo color line. And these colors here are really quite nice. And I hope that they bring in a few more colors next year into the line that round out that rainbow nice and perfectly. All right, so I hope that that was informational for you and that you like this video. Do let us know. And if you've got a product you'd like me to test, a book you'd like me to review, a technique that you don't know anything about, then make your suggestions in the comment section below and we'll see if we can make a video for you. And if make sure to also check out our previous videos, because we have tons and tons of them in there that will help you answer your polymer clay questions. All right, so we'll see you next time, and bye for now.